G'day everybody. My name is Sam Mould. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cultivate Farms, and welcome to our Cultivate Farms webinar. We're going to give you 7 steps to get farm investment ready. We love these webinars. We love just throwing information and handy tips and tricks to farmers like yourselves to get on and own your farm. This is why we set up Cultivate Farms. We're trying to make ownership possible for anyone with a dream. I hope you've been following our journey. I think most people have followed our journey almost from the start, but we've set Cultivate Farms up to do that very thing, make ownership possible. It is a massive dream, and it's very hard to do it, but we have learnt so much. And again, that's the point of this webinar tonight, is to give you those ideas so that you continue to follow your ownership dreams. Otherwise, life's too short. Yeah, we all know you want to own your farm. Let's make it happen. Let's get going. I do a lot of Googling. I still haven't seen an organisation with our focus, definitely not in Australia. I've heard people say it as well, that they haven't seen an organisation focused on ownership. And so we are really leading the world. You having this passion is a great thing, and something that not enough people are supporting. And that's why we love what we're doing. We've seen a lot of exciting things happen with farm ownership. They're happening right now, and they're going to happen for you as well. And again, hopefully you will love this webinar, and it kicks you along, keeps you going on your dream. So thank you for your time, and I'm very confident you're going to get a lot out of this. And we have brought these back after a popular demand. We did these about 6 months ago and had some really great feedback, and people enjoyed them. So we thought, let's go again. Owning your farm, as I said, is a big goal and a big ask, but it is absolutely possible. And you being here proves that you have that inkling and there's something there that you want to learn more. So just want to encourage you, you're in the right place, and just have a crack and take in as much as you can. We've spoken to hundreds of aspiring farmers, myself and the team, and Tim as well, who's just recently joined for about 12 months ago to the program and what we're doing at Cultivate. But he's busy making matches all the time, and I'll introduce you to Tim in a second. So we know we're saving you time. That's the big one. How do you turn 30 years of trying to save enough to own your farm down to a couple of years by partnering with people? But there is still a lot of work for you, and that's the key message. We give you these ideas and you can pick them up, but you're the one who's got to run with them. You're the one who's got to make it happen, and you're the one who's got to wake up every day to make it happen. And that's the tough bit. We think the methods are there. It's just you wanting to go for it. We'll talk to you about the Cultivator program, which no doubt you heard about also. That's kicking off in May. And we really love this program. It's probably the cornerstone thing. If we had to pick one thing to do in Cultivate, it would be it. It is about helping you do exactly what we're talking about today. Get yourself ready to take to investors or retiring farmers an investment or a co-ownership opportunity. And we'll talk about that at the end. And we're going to send an email with the video of this as well, and a few other little tidbits for you to grab onto after this workshop. Housekeeping, you don't need to throw your camera on. You're probably in your jammies watching with your kids. And so just relax, take down notes, use the chat function. We'll jump in with a question or two in a second. But I think just sit back and enjoy and take in as much as you can. So now I'm going to introduce you to Tim Pilkington. Tim is our lead for Cultivate Farms when it comes to matching farmers like yourselves with investors and retiring farmers. Tim's, you've helped make many matches, Tim, and you've seen many different scenarios as I have as well. And so I know you're in very good hands as Tim steps you through these steps. I'll jump in every now and then, but I'm going to hand it over to you now, Tim. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Sam, and thank you everybody for coming along tonight. I really appreciate you giving up your Tuesday evening to come and listen to me and Sam have a bit of a chat.
Hey, Tim, just before you go, I think you're a little bit crackly, mate. You might have a different headset in too before. Something's crackling. Can everyone else hear the crackle?
Is that okay, or?
Yeah, that's great. That's fine.
Yep, right. We'll throw away the earpiece. So thank you everybody for coming along tonight. Really appreciate everybody being here and giving up their Tuesday night. And tonight is about giving you the skills to go and pitch for your own farm and understanding how to basically set up yourself so you can go and pitch to investors. We'll give you the outlines for what it is you can do, but then it's up for you guys to go and do it. And as with most of these things, there'll be an offer at the end that we can come and help you to do it if you want us to. I'll just share the screen and we'll get into it. Hopefully you can all see me. just get my chat back up. Sorry, guys. So tonight's things, basically Cultivate Farms, the investment readiness formula and farm pitching template. Now, sorry guys, I'm just getting my background stuff sorted out. Now, the farm ownership pathway, we all know that following a well-trodden path versus blazing your own trail. It's a lot easier to follow a path than what it is to try and blaze your own trail. Now, what we're trying to do here is something that's not common, but there is a formula to it. There's a way that you can go about it, and that's what Cultivate Farms is about. It's about showing you the pathway to going and owning your own farm and seeking investment funds to go and to get your farm, or finding farm matching, or a local farmer that can help you, and different and unique ways of getting into farming, because we all know that trying to get capital out there at the moment to get in front of a bank, they're fickle, let's say, and a little bit interesting to work with at the moment. So we have to try and find different ways about going about things. So we Cultivate Farms working in different ways and doing things. The farm pitching template, that'll be a big part of tonight's presentation, and we'll go through the farm pitching template. I've worked at different times, and we'll go through my background, but I've worked in small ag investment companies, and when I saw the farm pitching template, it's a really good basic document that you can go and fill out to go and do due diligence. So it's got everything you need from an investment point of view, brought down into a very good template that you can fill out yourself, that allows you to present something that's really professional. So it's a really good resource. And when I'm working with farmers who are doing this, my main thing is go and fill out your farm pitching template, get a really good understanding of what you're doing. And for people who get on the Cultivate journey, there's an opportunity to pitch to an investor panel. So when we go through the Cultivator journey, at the end of it, there's an opportunity to pitch to investors and try and get your own farm, which is a really exciting thing. About me, obviously there's me and my 5 kids and my wife, and that's why I'm in the office tonight, because they will be raising hell at the moment. And as you can see, when you've got 5 kids, they get them to look at a camera at one point in time, it's like herding cats. My background has been coming off farm in North South Australia, worked as an agronomist for probably 15 years. I've also worked in farm business consulting and with investment advisory over the last 10 years. My role within Cultivate is working with Sam, doing due diligence on properties, but also doing farm matching, helping young farmers like yourselves match up to potential opportunities we've got within the system. So, if you get in the system and you look at one of the farms we've got there and you want to apply for it, you'll come through me, we'll have a conversation and help you direct you onto the farmer. And I encourage you, if you do nothing else tonight, to go and have a look at those farms, because there's some good opportunities there. Tonight, the things that we want you to come out of this with is the ability to produce one of these documents. This is a simple sort of one-pager. We call it a one-pager, but it's a two-pager. Really breaks down what an investment is, what it is you're trying to do, the highlights of what it's about, and a little bit about yourself as a farmer. So your ability to pull together one of those, and this is basically a calling card that you'll use with investors. It's a really brief document. There's a lot of information that goes in the back of these to getting these done correctly, and you're basically distilling down a lot of information into one of these documents. But this is what a good investor will expect to see. They'll expect you to see, you put out a two-pager, you go and put that in front of however many investors you can, and that gives them the ability to look at what it is you're offering, understand whether it's good value or not, whether or not they want a second conversation, in which case you'll come back with a farm pitching template. Won't be called a farm pitching template by then, it'll be your own sort of IM or information memorandum, and that's your due diligence package that will then an investor will take you seriously with. So these are the sort of the 2 main documents that you need to be taken seriously in an investment space. So this one here is Damien and Tony Maloney. They're clients of ours up in sort of southeastern Queensland. And they're fairly close to getting their deal done, as far as I understand at the moment. This is another one for Elmore Compost. We'll see a bit from Frank, who's done this one. Again, really succinct, to the point, high-level investment outputs, what it is you're trying to achieve as a business. You put that in front of an investor, they'll take you seriously, gives you the ability to come back. So part of this process is giving you the skills to be able to go and put together one of these documents and put that in front of investors, and that's your starting point, effectively. So now your farm ownership pathway, and I suppose it's understanding what your opportunities are. Number one is, and if you can put in the chat, why do you want to own a farm and what are your barriers? So if you've got just a few ideas, why are you here and why do you want to do this, guys?
Who's going to go first? This is a test to see if people are listening in.
Come on, Brian, we know you're there, mate. Sort of understanding why it is you're doing something is really, really good. Be your own boss. Yeah, Ben, I love that. It's a big driver in what I do. And your barriers are getting access to capital. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we run our own agri consulting business, and we also do a bit of finance broking, and accessing capital is becoming a harder thing all the time, and understanding how to tell the story. And I think that's part of tonight. Is understanding how to tell a story. You can really, whether you're dealing with a bank or an investor, having the information there is great, but it doesn't matter how good you are. Understanding how to communicate that information to everybody is really, really important. And that's the difference between getting a deal with a bank or getting a deal with an investor, is that how do you put it in a format that they understand and they want to engage with. Brian wants to become independent. Yes, that's, yeah, I agree with that. That's great. Lifestyle, be your own boss. Love for the land. Yeah, Kate. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of those sorts of things, to be your own boss and to be out there in the actual natural environment. So barriers, capital, economies of scale. And probably one of the things we'll challenge you to think about a bit later on is when you start to do a business plan, and we haven't done it in this one, but a lot of times we want to deal with farming clients, it's about first design what the outcomes are you want in your life, and then design the business so that it drives those outcomes. And economies of scale. So then if economies of scale are an issue, then we need to set up an economy of scale in your pitch document that allows you to achieve the goals you want from your own lifestyle, but also achieve the goals that the investors want. And so you might be better off going for more money that can achieve everything rather than going for less money just because you think you can get it. But that's really good. So there's a lot of things there about how it is, why do we want to do it? And the barriers are often money. That's effectively what it comes down to. So how do we go about getting that money, and how do we talk to those people who've got the money, and what are they looking for? It's probably really key issues. So when you're thinking about this process, it's always about, what are investors looking for? What are your goals? What are their goals? And how do we match them up? So, and that's what we're trying to do. It's just everybody sort of line up everybody's goals and how can we achieve that? What to expect from today? An overview of the exact farm pitching template and mentoring program we offer. It's a 90-minute roadmap tonight. We'll try and get it done a little bit quicker because we realised that we said it was going to be an hour, but there's a lot of information here. Further training or help is likely necessary. So, it's possible tonight that, the thoughts around known knowns, unknown knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. Tonight, you'll find out what you don't know that you don't know. So, and then that'll give you a bit of direction around how do we go about trying to find out the information that we don't know, and then how do we fill those gaps? We'll outline some next steps and resources for you to continue on your journey. And we'll give you the opportunity to make something happen, to make a decision and to push this forward for yourself. So feel free to ask questions as we go. Questions at the end there, yeah, up to you, but I'm happy to take them as we go. The problem, we know what the problem is, don't we? The farm values are rocketing upwards. This, I've updated this today, but this PowerPoint was written last year and that hasn't changed. And actually it's gone a lot further. Aging farmers are on the land and they're selling up. And it's interesting working within Cultivate. There's actually aging farmers that are looking for young farmers to come through now too, that are creating opportunities as well. So don't just think that they're just going to sell out to corporates. There's actually interesting, we're getting phone calls from people who would rather see a young farmer come through. Banks needing equity proof of income for a number of years and locking new farmers out. So that ability to explain who you are and how it is you create the cash flow to go and buy land, it's getting harder and harder to sell that to banks, especially in the last 12 or 18 months with the Royal Commission coming through, and banks are getting more difficult to deal with. So they're more reluctant at different times. And like I was saying before, I've seen even really good farmers who haven't communicated their skill set correctly to a bank get knocked back on deals. So they're in an interesting place at the moment. So it's sort of locking young farmers out of the system to a certain extent. But that's what we're here for at Cultivate Farms. Like I said, there's an opportunity there as well, where some older farmers are actually seeing this and wanting to bring young farmers through. So there's always an opportunity. Securing private investment is the key. However, most new farmers don't have training or experience to deal with this. Don't have support to do this, don't have a business plan, don't have a financial plan, don't understand their investment proposition, and don't understand how to present the pitch or proposal. So, and this is certainly true, and it's probably just understanding what it is that you need to do and how it is you need to communicate with investors. And this is what this program is about, to give you the skill set and the confidence to go and do it. And we'll talk to Andy, we'll see a video from Andy a bit later on. And a lot of this is knowing what to do, but then just having the confidence to go and execute on the plan. So, and it's just knowing how to present information to investors so they get confidence in you and understand what it is you've got to offer. So, what does this mean for the future of farming? Corporate takeovers, communities disappeared. We've handed over custodianship of land and our food system to the bigger farmers and to the corporates that come through. And we're looking at stewardship versus profit. What's more important? We're getting good young farmers come through who can look after the land, they've got a real connection to it, or we've got big corporates coming in and basically looking at just getting profits. And this system is about trying to find investors, and there are investors out there who are looking at ag at the moment, and they're looking for people who can look after the land and give us good returns, but also have a good return on that natural capital and bring some impact into that, and understanding how to improve the profitability and the viability of that land longer term. So, and the solution to all this is to become investable. And this is what this program is about. The Cultivate Farms farm pitching template, like I've said, it's a great document for people who are trying to understand how it is we should present information to an investor. Understand how to choose your farm, financial modelling, business model, investment proposal, your operations and risk analysis, which is, risk analysis really key. Your farming profile, why you? People are looking for good operators to basically run farms. Documentation, presentation, and your 3-minute investment pitch. We'll go through that. And we'll go through it to the best we possibly can today. It's a 10, 12-week program we run, but we'll try and distill as much of that into you as we can. So number one is choosing your farm, and why do you want to farm? What are your financial needs? What are your lifestyle needs? If money was no object, would these answers remain the same? So understanding these key things. So when you're talking to an investor, people buy why you do things, not what you do. I'm sure all of you have seen that Simon Sinek video. If you haven't, watched it afterwards or send me an email, I'll send you a link. But people buy why you do things. They buy an emotion, or they buy into you on the emotion of what's going on. So why do you want to farm? Why should they want to invest in you? What are your financial needs and your lifestyle needs? So again, going back to what I said earlier on about understanding your lifestyle needs, how they drive your financial needs, they then drive the business that you're trying to set up, and then that drives, and then you work out the financial sustainability of what it is you're creating, and then if that's working, you've got a business plan. So if you sit down and you look at your lifestyle needs and you need to make $500,000 a year to make that happen, you need to create a business that creates that. If you can live on $50,000 a year and you're happy, create a business plan that can do that. If money was no object, would these answers remain the same? And that's probably a key thing, because if you're only doing something for the money, well, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So, and to look at that in sort of an open mindset, as to what it is you can try and achieve. One big barrier to investment, the deal size. Yeah, it's just understanding deal sizes and what it is people can look into, and defining your deal. So why it is, what is that people should invest in you, and what it is you're trying to achieve. Once again, your why is one of the key reasons, key things you need to understand, and it's one of the things you unpack through the Cultivate system, is understanding your why. What is you're doing something, or what is someone should invest in you. Your values, and people are big on values. What are your core reasons for doing things? Your vision and your mission. Your roles, and we'll talk a little bit about playing to your journeys a bit later on. Your 5-year goals, your 12-month goals, and your 3-month rolling plan. So through this, you should always end up with a 5-year business plan with your modelling going out 5 years. And that's just your expectations. Investors want to see that. Your 12-month goals are the really key ones, and your 3-month rolling plan of things that need to be in place, how it is you're going to go about what it is you're going to do. Farm characteristics, location, scale. So these are the things you need to be putting in there, basically. Your location, scale, infrastructure, soil type, condition, rainfall. And you need to write that out and fill that out into a fairly reasonable sized document. That there, why, when you pick a location, why would you pick a location? And saying because it's next door isn't good enough. There's got to be a reason why it is someone should go and buy that, and look at it from the investor's point of view. Why is that good value? Why should they go and buy something? Like if they're going to go and buy a new house somewhere that's as an investment, or think of it like yourself. If you're going to go and buy a new house as an investment somewhere, would you buy next door to the one you had, or would you go and buy it somewhere that you're going to get better capital appreciation or better yields? So, and that's understanding those market drivers is really, really key. The scale, making sure that it's going to be something that's going to get reasonable returns. Obviously, if you're looking for a buy and lease back off an investor, the scale doesn't matter so much. But if you're looking for someone to buy and invest alongside of you, having something that's going to generate reasonable returns is really, really important. And this is where your financial modelling gets really, really critical as well, especially the values of land where they've gone over the last 12 or 18 months. Making sure you can get a reasonable return is pretty critical. Infrastructure on the farm, these are the sorts of things you always got to have there. has it got adequate infrastructure for what you're doing? Do you need to go and borrow more money to go and put more infrastructure on the property to operate it? Soil types, condition and rainfall. A lot of that stuff you can get off the internet. So there's good soil maps. Rainfall you can get off Bureau of Meteorology, but you can get some really good temperature graphs and everything else like that. And that feeds into your ability to generate your outcome, whether that's grass or crops or beef or whatever. You've got to be able to look at those and sort of show what it is that's going to drive into your business returns. Opportunity for productive improvement. So, is there an opportunity when you buy a property that you can fix it up, you can shift its use pattern? So one of the, I think Lee Lanigan Go Farm sort of did a report there a couple of years ago showing the most money that's been made in Australian agriculture has come from shifting farm use patterns. So going from dry land to agricultural, going from grazing land to cropping land. So shifting it up that use curve and increasing the value of the underlying asset. So are there things that you can do that can improve that? Can you improve soil health and biodiversity, drought resilience? Things that are coming through nowadays where people are looking to invest, and the carbon market's a big one that's coming through. And where is the impact? Like when you're dealing with investors, what is the impact you're having on the local environment? What are the things you're doing to improve that farm asset so that it actually can be more productive longer term, so that they can actually make more money out of it now, but also participate in knowing that they've done something good for the environment and good for the country. Why is location in Australia a good place to invest in farming rather than others? You should be able to speak pretty well on that about geopolitical risk at the moment and the stability of the Australian economy and basically the political situation. And you should be able to talk to access to markets in Asia, basically. So there are good reasons to invest in Australian agricultural land, and it's well noted at the moment. And it's also, land at this point in time is actually probably not a bad investment just from a hard asset point of view. So understanding that and being able to sell that point of view of land versus other asset classes, especially farmland, it's a pretty good contrarian investment. So understanding the value of that is really important. Capital growth, and this is becoming really, really important at the moment. Understanding the ability of land to appreciate and capital appreciation, especially with the way land prices have shifted. Understanding what the key drivers are, where the opportunities lie, places that have overshot in their value is really, really important. So understanding that, where can we find good value land that we can improve in value at the moment, and being able to sort of find those opportunities and sell that to an investor. What's the farm's price relative to previous market results? So making sure that when you're doing it, if your farm's worth $8,000 an acre and all the other farms in the area sold for $6,000 an acre, why would the investor buy into it? So they're after a good deal just as much as anybody else is. I'm not going to pay under the markets, but you don't want to be charging them over the market just to help someone out. What would you be prepared to pay, and why should an investor be prepared to pay this much? And you bring an investor into a relationship. So the key thing you want to do is actually when they come in, you want to be able to make this farm a success, and you want to, and hoping that if this goes really well, that you can go and buy the next property as well with them, so that you've got this relationship that grows, and so your business grows and their business grows over time. So you really want to make sure that you're looking after their money like it's your own. So think about that when you're looking to buy a property. If someone gave me $10 million, would I go and buy this with that $10 million or not? And if the answer is no, you probably need to find another business or another opportunity. Financial modelling, this is really, really critical. understanding your financials is critical for investors. It's probably the one thing that investors, they don't understand farming very well. They certainly understand finances, because money's, the spreadsheets are spreadsheets and people can see what's going on. So understanding how to present those numbers, making sure they're based in reality and truth, and making sure that they stack up and you can deliver on this, because if you deliver on this, they'll come back for the next deal and they'll tell all their mates and they'll say, hey, Brian's done a great job and we really want him to go and buy another farm, and their mates will come along and invest with you as well. So they'll engage you with emotion and they'll invest on logic. So they'll buy you, they'll sort of buy into you on the why. That'll get the door open. But a lot of these guys have got pretty good accountants in the background, and the accountants will look at the numbers. So understanding that's got to be there, and you've got to be able to sell that story on the logic and the numbers is really, really critical. And if you don't know how to do that, that's great, because I'm here and we can help you with that. It's the foundation of your entire pitch. It'll be the one thing. There'll be a lot of information, a lot of great looking photos and everything else about you guys. But if they can't see where the money is, they want to have an impact. They want to do good for the environment and good for the world and everything else. But if they can't see where they can make money, they're not going to be too worried about you. They'll move on to the next opportunity. So I want to know what the evidence and the assumptions are behind these projections. So understanding that is really critical. So being able to sit there and put all your assumptions out there in a clear format so that they know that what you've put up here is achievable. And there's a lot of information out there now, and most investors can find a lot of that information and can really understand what's going on. So making sure that you've got everything succinct and easy to look at, so that they can then just reference that with local data and go, yes, this makes sense, or no, it doesn't. They want everything laid out really, really easily. How much funding, what returns is it going to generate? They want to know that you won't run into cash flow problems. So, if you're expanding and you're building your herd over a period of time, 4 or 5 years as you're starting up, they want to know that you've got your cash flow sorted out so that you're not coming back to them for more money. There's no different set of dealing with a bank. The bank wants to know ahead of time what's going on. Investors are the same. They want to know you've got a plan. They want to understand that you understand how to manage your financial risk. What happens if we have a drought? What happens if the market crashes? What are you going to do to make sure this thing still flies? So it's their money. They're putting a lot of trust in you. So you've got to show that you understand the risks involved and that you can cover those risks and you can look after their money. So a lot of communication in this when you get into one of those relationships. It's continually communicating with them what's going on, a lot of education, because a little bit different to a lot of things that they've probably invested in before, and just making sure you're continuously talking to them about what's going on. Again, unless you have experience in doing this, there are plenty of advisors out there can help you. But yeah, you can just give me a call. More than happy to help. Where do you start? Basically, your BMF financial projections. So that's the ability to sit down and just write out quickly, what are your expected capital returns, your capital requirements, operational expenses of the farm. So you should be able to develop them pretty quickly. What's your anticipated profit, capital growth, and understanding a bit of what's driving capital growth in different areas, how these outcomes affect future debt funding requirements. Are you going to need debt? Are you going to need debt to grow? Is that going to change over the next 2 to 3 years? Especially if you're doing a development. Sometimes you do a development and you can borrow more money as you grow the development, but the underlying asset grows, so that allows you to borrow more money. So understanding how to set that up can so that you're tapping the bank instead of tapping your investor is really, really important. Get some help after you've done the basics. So get that set out, get a bit of an idea, then get some help from someone like you or someone like me. we often use a program called P2P Agri. There's other spreadsheets out there. It's a really good program for people who are starting out to get a really good financial model and give you a concept of what's going on. And it's really easy to, once you get it set up, to run some what if scenarios. You know, what if the market goes down 20%? What if we have a drought? What if we have a couple of wet years? And you can get some really good understanding of what's going on. But main thing is, if you don't have experience, get some help. I think we've covered some of that. Basically, look at the best, worst average rainfall of the past 10 years and market prices. Yeah, it's really interesting at the moment. We've got market prices right up here. We've got land prices right up here. What happens if those market prices come down? Obviously, input prices come down as well. You know, what's going to happen to this investment? You know, how do we cover that risk if that happens? So really just thinking about risk scenarios and how do we cover them off. Business model investment presentation, as we sort of said before, what's in it for me? And the investor is going to be thinking about what's in it for me. So how do you frame this up from their point of view to go, here's a great investment, it's a contrarian play, or it's, you know, it's a hard asset versus shares. We know it's going to appreciate in value. It might not go at the 14% that has been going for a couple of years, but it should go 3 to 5%. So how do you package up what's in it for them so they understand what's there for them? They have the money, you have the expertise. So there are people out there now who are actively looking to buy farms, but they need someone who can run it. You've got expertise in this area. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this this webinar at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. You've got some expertise. You need some capital. The people out there with capital, but they need the expertise. Understand how to sell yourself. Sell what the expertise is that you have. So make sure you come in with your business plan, your business model, your 2-pager, and let them know what you can do for them, because there are actually people out there looking for you right now. They're actively looking for you. It's an interesting time to be looking in this place, really. Make sure you got your business planning done. We keep on harping on this point, but it's really important. Have that there. What's your value angle on your farm? So what differentiates you from others? So this is about when you're looking to purchase a property. We spoke a bit about it before. You know, where can we get extra value out of this? You know, can you rezone the farmland in time? You know, and get a land, you know, increase in land value. You know, can you dramatically improve the crops or soil? Surprisingly enough, there's still opportunities out there to do that sort of work. You know, is there new infrastructure coming to town that will improve the value and profitability of the farms in the region? You know, are there things coming that will, you know, decrease your freight rates and things like that will help things along? Are you able to secure land for well under the market value? Yeah, and occasionally we come across those kinds of deals. Do you have a retiring farmer on board who's going to retain a large portion of equity and transfer the knowledge? Yeah, and those deals are out there as well. And, you know, we can help you sort of set them up, you know, in the way of equity partnerships or vendor finance terms and things like that. So they're out there. Is there a tourism boom in the region? Yeah, and then interesting enough today, we had a person ring us up. They've got an opportunity with a farm, with an investor. They're trying to sell, looking for someone to come and work it. There's tourism opportunities on the place. There's opportunities to grow that part of that business so they can value add to that property. Do you have insatiable passion and demonstrated skills that will just make this work? Can you find a way to make this work? Are you just going to get out there and have a crack? This is probably the key attribute to people who are successful in this place, in this market, is they just want to make this work. They're just going to go and go and go until they make it happen. Are you bringing a farming operation from another farm that you know will work? So Damien and Tony, which spoke about earlier on, with their two-pager. They've worked on a lot of different properties. They've built skills in regen ag. They've got great skills in building soil carbon. They're bringing those skill sets to another farm that they'll be able to buy into over time. So they've demonstrated skills that they can do that investors are looking for, and they can bring that along with them. Have you secured most of the investment? Just an investor to come and fill a small gap. So just need that last little bit to try and make sure you can secure the economy of scales. Do you have amazing market opportunity when demand for the produce is high? So, or is there a niche market that you can tap into? So opportunities to get into end markets. So, and they're the things that you can, take something from the farm all the way to the end and capture all that return, basically. Are there superior capital growth prospects? And those opportunities are out there as well. Even though we think everything's shot right through to the moon, there's still places out there that are probably slightly undervalued. Your proposal investors should include how much debt the new entity proposed to take on. So an understanding, right, this is how much we've got. So what's the investor going to put in? How much are you going to put in? How much debt? So is it going to be a 50-50 split between investor capital, your capital, and debt, or how's it going to sit? And most investors at the moment with cheap interest rates and think they're looking for a debt component of each investment. How much capital are you going to put in the farm yourself? And they want you to be invested. That's probably a key part of all this, is that you're investing in this alongside them so that they know that you've got some skin in the game. Obviously we said how much do you want them to invest. So, and what's it going to look like? Is it going to be a buy and a lease back? Are you going to do a profit share? And you can sort of put into these things a future land transfer. So, we've looked at deals in the past where, maybe the aspiring farmer only puts in a small percentage of capital up front, but have the right to purchase out over time. And I'd always encourage you guys to put into a deal the ability to share in the upside when you outperform the market. It's a known structure within this ag space. So when you outperform the market on returns, you get to share in that because that's part of your expertise and what you bring. So make sure you think about putting that in. Describe your intended breakdown between your contribution, debt finance, and investor finance. Can you incorporate investor finance? It's a great opportunity out there at the moment. What's the intended length of the arrangement? What are the exit strategies? So all agreements should have an exit strategy. Because especially in ag, when they're often longer plays, it might be that you're locked in for 5 years, but after 5 years, you have the opportunity to get out. But in the meantime, you also, the farmer, i.e. yourself, has first right to purchase. So making sure you get that agreement right up front. So you get that access to land, but you've got first right to purchase, and hopefully you build up enough in that period of time that you can buy that land off of them. More importantly, hopefully you're doing a great job and they want to go and buy the next farm with you by then anyway. So, but just making sure everybody knows how you get in and how you get out and what the strategies are, and any clauses around that to make sure that if anybody wants to break a contract early, that the deal doesn't fall over. So you've still got a farm that you can operate. You've got the ability to go and buy that, and there are ways of structuring those deals. Prospective operations, so how you're going to operate the property, risk analysis. This is a really key part of it. Really understand your risks and how you're going to mitigate those risks. It's a key thing for any investment document. And if you're looking for anything on that, I think Duxton have got a great resource. If you look at one of their IPOs for farming land, and they've got a lot of risk analysis there that you can go and look at that and get a really good understanding of it. So, but you really in your operations, how do you plan to operate the farm profitably? So run down on are you going to use zero till? Are you going to use regen? Are you going to farm conventionally? What's your operations? What do they look like? Why is it going to be profitable? And what is it you're trying to achieve? Demonstrate your strategic planning capabilities, production knowledge, and understanding the market. So, so making sure that you're showing your skills as the expert that they want you running that property. And that's basically what it is. So making sure you've got everything there and they go, right, this is good. I've got real confidence in the capacity of Ben to go and buy this property and set it up and run this, because he's shown me that he's got these procedures in place that he's going to follow, that I can sit there and look at it and go, yes, we've ticked the box. That's all good. What are you doing differently to generate returns for investors? And this is the other thing, where can you go with this to actually generate better returns for them so they want to come back to you with more money? Is there a niche market you can tap into? Is there a supply chain advantage in your location? So the things we've spoken about before, what are the things you're going to do for these investors that can improve their outcomes? So, and they do get proposals from a lot of different areas for people looking to do things. So how are you going to stand out? What's different about you? And why is your proposal better than everybody else? So they're the things you need to be able to sell to them so that they know that, you're the best person for them to put their money into. Outline your strategic plan for 5 years. And why you're doing what it is you're doing. So have that strategic plan there, and you can model that out for 5 years. Again, PTP is really good for doing that. If not, there's some really good Excel spreadsheets that are around and show you what's going on. And really, I think a lot of this stuff, you need to convince yourself first that you're doing the right thing. And then once you've convinced yourself, then you can go and take it to an investor and you'll have a lot of confidence in what you're doing. Sam, do you want to jump in here and just talk about biodiversity and investors and what they're looking for there? This is your genius zone.
A big lesson and learning from us is that the investors we're dealing with are people who want to do good, and they're commonly known as impact investors. These are people wanting to support regional communities and also look after the land and get involved. And that if you're looking for more corporate style investors, I think they have that in the background, but that's not their driver. I think the sweet spot for what we're looking at with Cultivate Farms and the farmers we deal are those who want to make money but also do good. So this has to be a focus for you, and we know 99% of farmers we deal with always have that. I want to look after the community, I want to look after the soil, I want to look after the environment, and this just has to be a key story for yourself as you're pulling this together. And I know it is for nearly just about everybody. And it's just being confident in that. And it doesn't have to be over the top in what those details are. But if you can be saying, look, I'm here to look after the environment, here to support the community. I want to be involved in these ways. I want to protect habitat, key parts of the property, and integrate that within the farming operations. Just those tangible things you could do on the farm, driven by, again, your values, which you would have clarified earlier in your proposal, that you're here to do good and be a steward of the land. It is just a fact for us that these are the types of investors we deal with. Even if you're targeting local investors, so people in your community, whether it's the lawyer or the doctor or somebody in town who has money that they want to back you, they will be doing it because they want to do good. And it's just helping them to find those hooks easily to say, yeah, if I back you, if I back Mary, I'm going to feel good about this and I'm going to make money. And I just want that to be, as an investor, they'll be saying, I want this to be clear. So this, I think is, I don't think it'd be too hard, and it isn't for the farmers that come through with us. It's just being upfront about it and being confident in it and knowing it is a key part of your story.
And it's a key part of the conversations, isn't it? Like it's interesting, you get the big corporates that are investing in local communities, and the first thing, the main thing, the ones we're dealing with anyway, they want to be seen as good citizens in the community. They want to be part of the community. They want to be seen to add things to the community, not taking away, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
That's their professional reputation. So, and then, yeah, so that's it's a really important part of it. And I think that's really, as part of Cultivate, it's a key part of what it is you've always wanted to achieve, basically, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I love to be able to say I've helped influence the land of Australia, that it's sustainable for generations to come. And just listening again through all you're going through, Tim, I think a lot of this, people, you know it, and a lot we've learned is that it's just about getting it out of you and being blatant with it. It's like you're probably going, yeah, of course I'm going to look after the environment. It's like, well, spell it out. That's just spell it out, write it down, and make it clear. Don't let people double guess what it is. It's just spelling it out and writing it down.
Yep. Awesome. Anything else you want to add there, mate?
No, I think that's great.
Pretty good. Righto. Awesome. Operational processes. Provide an overview of how your farm plan to be executed. This is a massive document that you guys need to put together. So, let people know what it is you're going to do and how it is you're going to do it. How the farming system operates throughout a season. So obviously, if you're going to, one of the easiest ways I'll look at it from a cropping point of view, you'd put in a farm plan for the year with, when you expect certain things to happen. So that, we'll start seeding on the 10th of April, and this is when this will happen. This is when this will happen. So put it out there so they understand what's going on. Probably similar to what Sam was saying there before. You know what this is. It's just articulating it so your investor goes, yep, these guys know what's going on. Data capture, how that be used and managed. So, how can you capture data? One of the key things we talk about is just, communicating with investors, is actually understanding, making sure they're always aware of what's going on with the financials and what's happening. So you always basically talking to them about that and putting that back to them and giving them reports. What's going on in the property, just quick, simple reports on what's happening on the properties, what's going on, making sure that's part of your process so they understand that once a month they've got a report with finances and what's happening. Dairy investments I've seen in the past, they've had like live milk reports that the investors could actually log on and see live milk reports, and that's part of what's going on. So they know if they want to, they can log in every day and see how much milk's come off that farm and what's going on. So just gives them that extra bit of confidence that they know what's going on with the money and where things are going, and you're always communicating. What marketing strategies would be used? So obviously you've got to be able to talk to them about where you're going to market things, how that's going to happen. What are your policies around that to make sure that you're going to achieve the best results for them possible? What marketing edge do you have that will ensure a good price for produce? Can you sell it to an end market? Do you have access to to end users, restaurants, whatever, that can generate a better price? Do you have the skills to go and do that? And if you don't have the skills to do that, but you want to, please give us a call. We can help you out. Operational processes, understanding what machinery needs to be purchased or leased, how you're going to do that, when you're going to use contractors, when you're not going to use contractors, how do you justify those decisions? What are the financials behind them? How would financial management be undertaken? How do we report what's going on? Do you have a plan for managing compliance to various legal requirements? I suggest you should. And what are your likely staffing requirements, and how do you justify those staffing things? So these are the things you need to be able to think about and put into a document, which the farm pitching template sort of outlines, but you've got to be able to articulate all these things and put them down. And this is just about establishing your credibility with the investor, so they know that you've thought all these things out and you've thoroughly gone across things. Risk, probably one of the key parts of the whole document, is being able to sit down there and write out your risks and how you're going to mitigate them. Like I said before, Duxton have got a great resource on one of their IPOs for ag land in Australia. You can sort of Google that up. And it's got a really good risk outline of what they do, and that's what a managed fund would do. I recommend anybody goes and looks at that and uses that as a bit of a template for what it is you want to do. But understand, how are you going to mitigate poor seasonal conditions? So you've got to be able to sit there and say, what happens if we get a drought? What are we going to do to mitigate that risk? What's your market and price risk? How are you going to cover that? Worker health and safety, compliance risk, really big thing. Excuse me, insurance arrangements to cover off. So finance risk, all these things are things, when an investor gives you money, the last thing they want to find out is that you've done something stupid and now they're up for something. They don't want to know that they're going to be sued because you haven't got your public liability up to standard. They don't want to know that you haven't been paying workers' compensation insurance and now that they're on the hook for that. So you need to be able to cover off their risk so that they're not going to get a nasty shock at any point in time, so that you've looked after them. So that's your obligation to the investor, is to remove as much risk as possible from them. So that this part of the document really needs to outline that, so that if you haven't covered off what their problems, how you're going to mitigate their risk, then it's an opportunity for them to walk away and say no. So I had a mentor say to me once that an investor needs 100 reasons to say yes and only one reason to say no. So you've got to sit there and articulate everything in front of them, so that when they look at it, they go, yes, this is right. Yes, this is right. Yes, this is right. We've got good returns. We've got good people there. They're doing a great job. They've covered my risk. They've done everything right. But if they see one thing missing, that's their one reason to walk away from the deal. So always think about that. Try and cover off everything, so that they've got all the confidence they possibly can that you're the right person. The next thing we need to think about is why you. Why would they invest in you? And it's probably understanding what it is you bring to the table, really. And excuse me, as we've sort of said a couple of times, there's people out there, investors with money, but they're looking for good operators, and people who can do the right thing, and also young farmers who they want to have a go. They want to look after people, and they're going to look after local communities. So understanding what it is you bring to the table, which is also understanding a bit about yourself. One of the key things we try to unpack through this whole process is understanding your zone of genius. So where do you work best, and try to get you working in that zone so that you can offer the best value to your investors. So when you look at this, obviously you've got levels of incompetence. We all know we've all got areas of incompetence that we can't, things that we can't do well. So there's things that we need to outsource to someone else. So if you can't do your financial planning, you need to outsource that. If you've got your legal risk, you need to have someone there that's in your team that's handling that. You got areas of competence, that things that you can do, but maybe are better outsourced to someone else. So, whether it's sweeping the shed or doing the fencing, or sometimes it's those $30 hours that, you can go and do them, but your business would be better if you weren't. So you're better off finding someone else who can do it. You're competent at it, but you're not excellent. Your areas of excellence are areas of things that you can do quite well. And that's probably where a lot of us get trapped, is doing those things. But your genius zone is the area where you're really humming along, really passionate, you're driven, this is what you want to do. It's finding that's where you actually get things really, really flying, and you'll add sort of value to an investor. So, excuse me. So zone of competence, things you can do, but others can do just as well as you. And then obviously zone of excellence, things you do extremely well and you make a good living. So this is where we tend to sit, a lot of us. And the zone of genius is basically the set of activities you're uniquely suited to do. So we've all got that area in life somewhere that we've got the skills that no one else has. and they sort of draw on your special skills and your gifts and strengths. And this is sort of part of the whole Cultivate system, is that we try and find out those areas and draw that out. And that's the value you bring to an investor. So you may not be able to dedicate 100% of your time working as a genius, but the more time you spend in it, the happier you'll be. As you plan a new farm, new business lifestyle, try and set yourself up to be working there at 80% of the time. I'd like to be working with Zone of Genius 80% of the time. Certainly an aspiration. So yeah, it's that ability to do that actually allows you to generate better returns for yourself, have a better life, really enjoy yourself, but also generate better returns for the people around you. Your farming capabilities and experience. What are the qualities that make you stand out as someone who run a profitable farming business? So you really got to understand that. What is it that you have that's different from anybody else? The different set of skills that allows you to generate better returns than anybody else. That's probably understanding your strengths and your weaknesses, and finding those areas that you work really well in, and how do you sort of drive those advantages for your business, for yourself, and for the people who are going on the journey with you. Be bold in outlining who you are. Be confident. And it's probably one of the interesting things is getting that confidence. That's what part of this process is actually understanding there's a formula to this. I know when I first started working in ag investment, it was probably fairly intimidating, and and you're like, how does this work and what's going on? And the more time you spend in it, the more you realise it's like everything else. It's just understanding what it is you're doing and how to go about it. And it's not as complicated as most people, as you might think from the outside. So understand that you've got some skills, you've got something people want, and give you that confidence to understand how it is you can talk to these people, and then you'll have the ability to frame yourself as the best candidate for them to back. So the investors are out there, you've got the skills, we just need to find a way to communicate that and give you the understanding of the system so that you can then go and attract the funds you want to go and live your life and do the best things you want to do. So one of the things we work on is getting your target team or your advisory board. Target teams come out of the NASA, the first sort of started back in NASA Apollo 13 days, where they developed small teams to basically be nimble and fix up issues. So understanding what your key skills are. So if you're an agronomist, you obviously don't need another agronomist, but you might need a really good accountant. You all need great mentors, and that's where Sam and I are here. And there are other people you can get around you that can help drive you. Financial advisors, investors, you might need legal advice. Understand your strengths and weaknesses and find the people to put around you. And having a good advisory board is something an investor wants to see. They want to know that basically, if you haven't got the skills, that you've found the people to come in around you and make sure that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So look to fill that out with really great people, because that adds to the depth of your offering, so that people get confidence that you've got the skills to go and deliver on what it is you want to deliver on. Your one pager. So we sort of showed you a couple of one pages earlier on, and we'll go back through them. Should be really quick, easy investment highlights. The three big key highlights, take-home messages, what is you here and what is people should invest in you. Bullet points, make it easy to read. Think of it like a business card, just with a few more bullet points on it. It's basically, this is what it is, and you'll go and hand that out to 100 people, and that's their opportunity to come back and get some interest and think, right, I want to give Ashley a call and have a chat to her about her great investment. That's what you do. And then you can come back with the confidentiality agreement, then your full IM, and then and then work your way through negotiations. So this is probably one of the main things you can do. is getting this right. And this is always a distillation of the bigger document that we've spoken about. So again, this is Damien Tony's investment details here. Total finance, the total investment 7 mil. Farmer finance, farmer bank, farmer contribution, land. And so it's all written out there, nice and easy, 3% lease returns, soil carbon credits. So just a real easy write down, what are the investment highlights? What are the impact highlights? These guys ran a property that was basically sold to Microsoft. So they ran it for another company that was basically sold to Microsoft for soil carbon credits. It's one of the biggest ones that was done. Yeah, a couple of years ago. And so they had a skill set that they could sell, the ability to generate these soil carbon credits. So that's a great story for an investor. Hey, we've got people who know what they're doing. So put that in there. So that's something that someone can sit down and read pretty quickly, bit of a rundown on the farmers, where they want to go, why it is you should invest in them. Quick, to the point, you know what's going on, and it's just there. It's a bit of a calling card. Yes, this looks great. Frank Harney, Elmore Compost and Organics, again, same sort of thing. Investment highlights, impact highlights, a bit about the farmers. So simple, to the point, but it's backed up with a really good document behind that they can then bring in with confidence and show people what it is they're trying to achieve. So what we might do now is I'll hand over to Sam, because his videos work a bit better than mine, and you can just show us a couple of videos, Sam.
And I just wanted to jump in all that time going, and this is really important, and this is, we need to unpack this. And I guess the point is that this is so good, and there's so much to it, and you might feel a little bit of overwhelm. But we want to show you a couple of videos to show people who've been through this, particularly Andy, who's now on her farm with her husband, and they had that same sort of thought up front. So we're going to show you Andy's interview with Adam Gibson, who's part of the Cultivate Farms family, and they did this about a couple of months ago. But just to show you Andy, who's been through this and come out the other side, and now she's even looking for more farms. But it's absolutely possible, and I guess that's what we want to show you. And doing everything Tim's just talked through takes a lot of time, but once you've done it, it's there, and you can refine and go again and again and again. It's be like breathing for you. So this, I just want to show to give you a bit of encouragement and keep going.
And the bloke here who's about to talk, if you want to pause.
Oh, you there, Tim?
So yeah, the bloke here about to talk is Adam Gibson. He's one of our other coaches. Adam's up at Lismore, and he's underwater at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is Adam, and he was one of our coaches last year, and will be in the program again this year.
And we'll just play for a few minutes just to give you the flavour from Andy.
Andy, tell us where you were a year or so ago, and what you guys were hoping to achieve, and where you're sitting, and what you were concerned about. Tell us where you're at a year or so ago.
Sure. So 12 months ago, well, actually last June, we got notification that our ideal farm that we'd had our eye on for many years was for sale. We kind of put our names out there several times to say, if you ever sell it, please come to us. And basically he said, no, it's not for sale, it's not for sale, it's never going to be for sale. And but someone had a big corporate entity had come to the party and said, we will buy it, we'll give you $1 billion and we'll buy it off you. So we said, okay, well, it's actually for sale now, and offered it to us. There was no way. We went to the bank and they said, no way, not going to happen, you can't do it. So we then threw our hands in the air and kind of, well, what do we do? This is what we want. It's right next door to our current small farm. It's everything we ever wanted. So we then joined up and did Cultivate this time last year, and put together our Tiger team, had Sam and Adam having our backs the whole time. We paid our money. And
just before you go down that road, just tell us what was the decision with Cultivator like for you? Like, what prompted you to do it? Was it just they had this opportunity, or what was the how were you feeling about it? I guess is what I'll ask you.
We were just, I think Hayden was depressed. Like, there's no doubt about it. It was awful. It was a really bad, like, what are we going to do with our lives? We were basically ready to put all of our stuff in a shipping container and just go around Australia, because what else were we going to do? You know, if we couldn't do this, what were we going to do? It was, yeah, we were kind of at a bit of a loss to what we were going to do with our lives, because we had our heart set on it. And so, yeah, so then basically we signed up with Cultivate and with the Cultivated program last year. And as I said, we kind of, you know, we put up our money, where our mouth is, and we committed to the program. And then the farm sold to someone else. Like, obviously the other people came in, they bought it, it was gone, it was sold, and we pitched for many different farms, and they all sold to all big corporate entities who had more money than what we did. But in that process, in that time frame, we managed to put together, we got a great bank manager who supported us and basically said, you know, yep, I have confidence in you. We put together our Tiger team of our accountant, our solicitor, our bank manager, all the people who were surrounding us, all our agents and our agronomists and everything who were backing us. We spoke to everybody we possibly could, you know, who would listen to us. You know, I can talk a lot, so I was telling everybody, though, this is what we want to do. We put together our pitch, and I actually over Christmas was talking to relatives and telling them what we wanted to do and how we also, you know, at our wit's end, and we were doing this project. What did they think of it? And they basically said, well, we'll help you out. And so they came to the party, and they've come on as private investors for us, and they actually put in, so we're paying them interest only, our arrangement that we came up with. We're paying them interest only at 4%, which is pretty handy for them, and it's not much more than what we're paying the bank for the rest of the funds. And they're happy with that. We're going to reevaluate the arrangement in 2 years. And basically, we think at that point in time, the current market rates of property, we're hoping that we're going to be able to just refinance that and just pay them out in 2 years. Or we'll reassess it anyway. But that gave us enough working capital with our, because we had harvest check as well, because we do a little bit of share farming with the neighbour. So we were able to come up with harvest check in the meantime last year as well. So that gave us a bit of capital for ourselves. And the deal that was on the cards for the property, our dream property, it all fell through for the big corporate that came in. And well, that stage, by the time it all fell through, we came in with our investor, our bank manager, our accountant, everyone, and we just swooped in and just said, can we please have it? We are so serious. Oh, in this space of time too, sorry, just while this was all going on, Hayden literally, I think, sent 18 emails, like no joke, saying, please, if this falls through, we are here, we are ready, we are trying, please, 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 and like just basically hounded the vendor so that if anything did fall through, that they would think of us first, and it did. So don't give up hope, because if something looks like it's completely hopeless, just keep trying, because we're proof that really anything is possible if you just keep hounding people and keep at it and don't give up. You can get there. So.
I'm going to pause it there. There's another 7 minutes. We can send that through, but hopefully that gives you that flavour of she had a plan. Annie had a plan, and the opportunity popped up. You know, they were kicked in the guts a few times. They kept going, and then something popped up, and that's the gist of this. Unless they were prepared, they put the time in, they couldn't jump onto it. And we hear this story time and time again and again. This is why we do these programs, is to get you ready for those opportunities.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is they refined the process. They didn't give up, and they just worked and worked and worked until when obviously they got back to that original opportunity. But if they had given up after the first time, they wouldn't have been ready when it come back around. And so it's understanding there's a process, and just to take your shot when it comes, but to also just keep on going and going and going. So it's all about attitude, basically. I mean, attitude wins. When everything else is equal, attitude wins. And that's probably one of the main things. It's just that tenacity to keep on going that got her there. And it's a great story. Do you want to put on Frank's video next, Sam?
Let's do Frank's, and this is so. Andy, that was just to show you, someone's been through the journey, and then and Andy developed a video that we're about to show you now. But we're going to show you Frank's. I'll just show you the first few minutes or a minute or so, but just again to show you what you can produce to put in front of investors. And you might have seen our pitch events, and we've done about 5 of them now, and you'll have seen these farmers' proposals. But this is just to show you how Frank's gone through this journey to pull a proposal together, and I know he puts this in front of a lot of people all the time.
Are you passionate about healthy soil and sustainability? Hi, I'm Frank Harney, and my family and I run Elmore Compost and Organics alongside our existing farming business. Our business is dedicated to improving soil quality through the use of organics. Our motto is healthy soil, healthy food, healthy humans. With our expertise, we can take any arable land and use our high quality compost and other organic additives to turn it into a fertile country with increased yields. Our existing land holdings have shown a 1% carbon increase over 3 years. In contrast, most modern farming is eroding soil and crop quality and diminishing yields. So why do we do what we do? Because healthy soil creates healthy crops and therefore improves health outcomes for people. Plus higher yields means higher returns. Since our transition to organic certification 5 years ago, we have achieved yields of 2.5 tonnes to the hectare of organic grain, showing gross returns of around $1,500 per hectare. On the large-scale organic.
I'll pause it there, but you just see Frank just pulling apart the key bits of information that makes him different to somebody else and gets people's attention. But I still remember Frank seeing a version, someone else's video in the Cultivate program, and you're shaking his head and thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. And he came up with that video with his family because he understood what it was, and he went through the process and full of confidence. And
it's a great video, and it's well presented, and it's professional, and it's something that you're happy to share, and that's part of the process, is understanding how to get that up. And Frank it's interesting when you because I wasn't there at the start of Frank's journey, but you listen to him now, and he's very quick to understand what's going on, how to pull apart a deal, and how to structure it up. So, and that's just the confidence of understanding what's going on and the system, and how to put something up in front of investors. So. So we'll go back to so the next thing is, obviously you're here and you want to go farming, and you're looking for capital and opportunities, and it's just an invite you to consider, can you do this? Can you do this yourself? Can you pull apart a 1-page pitch document? Can you do the business plan and the financial projections? Your 3-minute video? Can you get your target team together? Have you got access to a good investor network? Do you understand how to get bank finance, approval, or how to work with your bank advisors? So, if you can do all this stuff and you can get the Cultivate pitch document, that's great. I encourage you to go ahead and go for it. But if you can't, obviously we've got an offer for you to help you along this journey effectively. So, and that's to become part of the Cultivator network. What's next for us is, we've got this Cultivator system coming up, and it's to help you get that 1-page pitch ready, get you comfortable talking to investors, get you confident, and get you ready to deliver that 2 to 3 minute live pitch. And what we've got is our Cultivator Intensive program. And we've got the link here if you're interested. The next 3-month Cultivator program starts in May, on May the 3rd, go through to July this year. The best applications will be selected to present to a Cultivate Farms Investment Advisory Board, which could lead to investment outcomes. So that's the opportunity to pitch to investors and try and get your funds. Everybody will pitch to an internal Cultivate team. So everybody gets that opportunity to pitch, and then there's normally an impact investor on that, but the best ones will go through to the full Cultivator pitch. You'll produce a farm pitch document. You'll be guided by Sam and myself on how to do that, how to set up a presentation for your pitch, and get the ability to go and do this yourself. And most importantly, you'll get the confidence to go and do this, and you're good enough to go and do this. You know, you get the ability to go and speak to people and get that confidence that Andy had to go and get in front of an investor and sell yourself. So, yeah, as I said, the next one's starting May, 3rd of May. The format is weekly video conferences for 2 hours. That's a group training session. Be 9 or 10 sessions through May to late June. Yeah, and we go through everything in this program we've talked about tonight. How to go about setting your rank up, how to get your farm pitch right, how to bring that back to your one pager. You know, it includes the invitation to the in-house pitch session, and the opportunity to get into the public pitch. So, as Sam said before, this is probably the only system in Australia, certainly the only one we know of in Australia. And his previous pricing on this is $5,500. It's worth way more than that. If you come to me and ask me to walk you through this and do all this, I probably wouldn't do it for less than $20,000. But basically, well, I mean, Sam can talk about why it is we do it, but effectively we do it at this price to cover costs, and we use this as an opportunity to curate potential deals from investors in our network. So it gives us the opportunity to take the best young farmers around, put them in front of investors, and so we get access to deals as we come through. So unashamedly, that's where we're going for this. Sam's put the link in the chat if you're interested. But what this is about is us helping you to get all the skills you need for the cheapest price we can possibly do it. And out of that, we get the ability to generate deals for our investor community. So it's a great opportunity to go through and understand what this is. It's a great opportunity to leverage probably a decade of my learning and decade of Sam's learning. So at least 20 years worth of expertise, probably another 20, 30 years worth of Adam's expertise as well, to come in and help you guys learn how to do this and present to investors. So limited to 12 participants on a first come, first served basis. We've already got 3 in, haven't we, Sam? So yeah, we've got another video going out on Thursday. And for those of you who are interested, if you book, well, next 24 hours, by 7:30 tomorrow night, you can get another 1 hour session with me. So in that, you'll get the 9 or 10 coaching sessions. You'll get 3 one-on-ones with me in that, and where we can deep dive into your business, your proposal, and what's going on, and sort of pull apart what it is you're doing and come out with a full package that you can go and take to investors.
We've got an editor in there as well, Tim. This program,
Yes.
You know, get your pitch even tighter, which we think is really exciting.
And that comes down to the communication process, is being able to communicate that. So Sam's been able to secure the services of a high quality editor to help you present your documents the best way possible, effectively.
Yeah, I didn't know Tim was doing this last dot point there. I would jump on that if I was you. That is an awesome offer. Jump on, chat with Tim. I definitely recommend that.
Beautiful. So there's been a lot of information, and we've gone through it at breakneck speed. But are there any questions anybody's got on anything? Anything you want to understand? Anything we could have gone into a few more details with?
I'll jump in, Tim, while they're going, and we'll finish it at 9. But do you need a farm? Basically, you got to have a farm ready, an old, retiring farmer ready to give it to you, or one on the market, or can you just pick any? What's the process there?
It helps if you do, but realistically, this is about understanding the process. And so you can just we can go and find a farm somewhere and use as an example and get everything done. And then you can go and just use that process over and over again. So, and probably the key thing is, like Andy sort of said, they went through this quite a few times and they were ready to go when the opportunity come back up again. So if you can go through this quite a few times, maybe not quite a few times, but go through this a few times and practice to the point where you've got it down pat, when your opportunity comes, you're ready to go. You've got your team, You understand what the numbers look like. You know, a part of the process of pulling apart the numbers is that you'll find out what it is you're looking to do anyway, and you might refine the sort of farm you're looking for. You might think you want one thing, but when you come to the end of it, it's like, no, that's not quite right. We need to look over here. And so it's great if you do have a farm, but realistically, it's about learning what you need to do so that you're ready to go like that, drop of a hat when the time comes.
Yeah, and that's it. I think the point there is just to grab a farm and build your proposal around it. You need a farm. There's no point writing a vague concept plan. It's got to be a specific farm so you can go through that process of pulling it together.
Yep.
We haven't got any other on the chat team, but I'll go with another one. So you're saying you're not guaranteed to get a farm your first pitch?
Well, if you can do it on the first pitch, mate, you're an absolute superstar. No, you're not guaranteed, but the thing is understanding what's going on, and it's a process. And like I said earlier on, like, you think it's hard, but it's only hard if you don't know what you're doing. And when you understand what it is that you've got to do, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not as intimidating. And once you understand what's going on, you get confidence. And once you've got confidence, people want to invest in you. It's like anything. If you don't believe in yourself and you can't sell yourself, no one's going to want to buy you. And that's what you're selling. You're selling yourself and your ability to do this. And part of this process is understanding yourself and what it is you're about and what it is you can bring to the table, so that when you sit in front of investors, they understand that and they get that feeling and they've got that confidence in you then. So you might be able to do it, mate, but you're a better person than me.
I think that's the point. This is about doing it once, doing it twice, doing the dinner table over Christmas and Easter and whatever, and just continually doing it until one day, like Andy, someone says yes. I think that's the attitude you need to have, and be ready to get punched in the face when people say no, and get up and go again. What's that saying? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, and I think it's this. You're going to have a go at it. Someone will say no, they'll hate it. You go again, and one day someone's going to say yes, and you're off and running. Yep.
Excellent.
I think we wrap it up there. We thank you. I think we did push an extra half hour, so thank people for staying on for an extra time. Please get in touch. We will follow up anyway. There's an email coming out tomorrow with the recording. As Tim said, jump on the Cultivate Farms website to sign up. We'd love to see you part of the program. We'd love you just to get on your farm. That's the bottom line. Get on your farm, and also take Tim up on that offer of a phone call. I would lock that in as soon as you can.
Excellent, guys. Thanks very much for everybody coming tonight. Really appreciated you giving up your Tuesday evening. Even if you don't do anything, that pitch template is excellent, and it's worthwhile doing something, just working your way through that. If you do want to do something, this is the best value. I think I see one bloke from the States used to sign off with cowboy logic. You won't live long enough to make all the mistakes yourself, so learn from other people's, and this is an opportunity to learn from my experience and Sam's experience. And to try and get yourself on your journey. So we'd love to help you. We'd love for you to come along. So thanks very much. Have a great evening, guys, and I hope to be speaking with you soon.
Thanks, everyone.